So roundhouse, circular home. Is that where you guys are gonna live?
It's just
you ain't got any corners.
So stupid.
Tom buys a new house without any corners, just like the Packers. Oh, you guys are so screwed.
I can't wait to beat you. I can't wait. I can't. Oh, baby. We here.
Whoa. You froze on my end.
Oh.
I don't know.
Do you want me to do it again?
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, baby. We here.
We're still.
There we go. You're in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna, and this is GPS. And we got breaking news on two fronts. One, Nick Chubb is going to be going to the Houston Texans, barring a physical, so a past physical, I should say. So some exciting news there. I hope Nick Chubb absolutely crushes it. And then in completely deflating news to the Green Bay Packers, after an entire offseason filled with, oh, he's gone, oh, he's so back, oh, he's gone again, it turns out he's gone. Jaire Alexander said nay to a restructured deal, which would have been a one-year deal, making him a free agent next year. It was a reduced contract. They couldn't trade him during the draft. And so because of that, Jaire Alexander is being released by the Green Bay Packers.
He gone.
After all that.
A lot of work.
True.
And the Packers couldn't get a deal done, and now they have to accept nothing. The best kind of release is full release, where you get nothing in return.
Sure.
Except for, cap savings. A little bit of dead money.
Oh, no, they have a ton of cap savings now. I think they're the third in the league now with most cap space. So, it gives them some decent flexibility, what they're going to do with that.
Which
that
is great at this point in the year when there's
so many people available.
High upside free agents to sign.
Yeah. Just take care of them, Guillermo. Just take care of them.
That's obviously probably, that's a hindsight thing. And Packers trying to move him during free agency and the draft.
Yeah.
And it came down to what, teams willing to trade for him didn't want to pay the contract. So the Packers didn't want to eat most of it.
Yeah. So they should have eaten it, right? It's it was due 17 mil this year, right? Yeah. And so the problem with Jaire, and Perna and I were talking about this briefly before, because I have been of the thought process this entire offseason when this looked like even last year's Jaire's probably not coming back, right? These rumors have been going around forever. And there was a glimmer of hope that, the Packers were offering him a deal, that maybe they were going to be able to come to the table. But as I said in the beginning of this offseason, it took two to tango, right? Because from Jaire Alexander's perspective, he wants to continue to make money and get paid, for the work that he has done and the play that he's had. And then for the Packers, the injuries have been a significant problem, right? He has had one full season in the last 4 years. So there you go. So he played 4 games in 2021, in 23, and in 24. He played a total of 7 games each season. So that's ultimately the problem. They interviewed Mark Murphy while he was golfing. And he's basically retired. He's leaving next year. But he was just it's the injuries, man. You can't do anything about it. And so while we have a very young cornerback room, right, which leaves me a little hesitant, Jaire would have been great, but he had to have stayed on the field. And I think the Packers and Jaire just couldn't come to an agreement of hey, this is how much we want to pay you for how these past couple seasons have gone. So I understand both sides. I just think ultimately for the team, it's not going to benefit. However, there's a possibility where we, restructure Jaire's contract and then he still doesn't play a full season. Right.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Jaire is going to play a full season.
Oh, because the Vikings.
He's trying to get paid again. Do you think, like, because I was writing about it this morning, and there's when you have an injury or injuries with a player,
yeah,
and a player is at Jaire's level, so it's you have an extremely talented player.
Sure,
you paid him. You were happy to pay him, but then you drafted him too. But then after he gets paid, hasn't been able to stay on the field. It's not one injury, wasn't just like an ACL where he missed a full year. There becomes, I think, this question where when a team is willing to move on from that guy, it is about the money, but I think it's also about the team's perception of the player and their perception of the injuries, where it becomes a question. How injured is he?
Mm-hmm.
Does the team believe he should be playing through some of the injuries versus what that player thinks he should be doing for his body? And that feels like that became kind of the unspoken sort of question the Packers have about Jaire Alexander. It's not just that he was injured, it's that I think it feels like they believe he should have been on the field fighting through some of those injuries. And that's never a fair thing for like a fan to say about a player or, an organization, but it does happen when the team thinks you should be out there and you're not.
Well, it's also, you have to look traditionally at the Packers, and you can either interviews that I've done with Mark Murphy, or you could just listen to the Packers speak. They are 1,000,000% of the mindset releasing a player a year earlier than a year late. Like that is their entire MO. That's why a lot of Packers fans have been rubbed the wrong way, because a lot of their favorite players have been released kind of unceremoniously. Aaron Rodgers talked about this, but like, look at Clay Matthews, look at Jordy Nelson. Like this has happened throughout Packers history, especially recent Packers history, where they're like, hey, if a guy's just not on the field, we're going to release him. And just call me Tay, like, yeah, I just think that the problem I think I have here is obviously during the draft, the fact that they didn't draft a corner until the draft pick that I announced in the 7th round, right? That is where, like, I think there could have been some more work done here.
Oops.
And like, that would have been, I would have felt a little bit more confident, because the secondary was fine. I just think you need to have like more stability back there, and probably need to have a significant veteran presence. But I feel like now for the Packers, it's really just going to depend on how that pass rush develops. If they're able to step up, I feel better, because as we talk about forever, that's going to make a secondary look better. I love our safety unit, but yeah, I think it's tough, man. I think that the Packers are a better team when Jaire is on the field, but I understand from the standpoint of he hasn't been on the field. So that's tough.
Yeah, if they were going to get rid of him, 1 year too early, that should have been after 2022. So they're not even actually living up to their own philosophy, if you really look at it, Tom.
How are they not living up to their own philosophy? What BS?
Get rid of a player a year too early versus too late. They should have let him go after 2022.
You should be a
if
GM.
Really
you should be
smart,
the GM for
that's
the
what they would have done.
Yeah, it's true.
They would have given him his contract extension in 2022 and then immediately traded him.
Yeah, and like, it sucks, dude, because like, again, like, you look at the seasons where he's been able to play like full seasons, like, he's one of the best corners. Obviously, he's had some significant injuries, which is not his fault, and that has reduced some of his play like on the field. But when he's on the field, he was better, So I think it's just unfortunate. It's been a long off season with Jaire, and I think just like these past few weeks, there's been a little bit of hope that they were going to get it done, especially after the draft and them not targeting a CB early. It was like, oh, well, maybe they have confidence that he's going to stay, and obviously that's not what's happening today.
Yeah, I watched a clip this morning from Adam Schefter, and it was a few days ago, and he spelled it out. He was like, he's not going back to the Packers. I was like, oh shit, that was June 4th. Like the offer that they gave him is lower than he's willing to accept, and I do not foresee him and the Packers working it out. So I think Schefty was on top of it, and then it breaks this morning, and it becomes for Green Bay. Right, it's like Carrington Valentine has been pretty good for you guys, and he's young, so there's a little bit of upside there. But you got Nixon and Hobbs. And my take is both of those guys are better out of the slot. So you have two guys whose strengths playing in the slot, and now you've got a number 2, number 1 corner position to figure out. It's like, which one of those guys can you move into the CB2 position and expect to not have much of a drop off? But then you guys create all this money.
Would not be surprised.
This cap space now. Packers fans,
Trey Hendrickson, come on down.
there you go. You got enough money to pay Trey Hendrickson, and screw it. Why don't you just sign Rasul Douglas again?
I'm not going to lie.
Bring Rasul back.
If the Packers wise up, if I just want to ingest all of the copium and hopium, everything all the not the opium though.
Yeah.
If they get Trey Hendrickson, I would feel outstandingly better. And I'd be like, okay, because as the pass rush would make the second. And I don't think the secondary is going to be awful. I love the safety room. You know, they completely revamped that last year. It was one of the best. And in terms of the corner, I think that there's just some hesitation because there's not a ton of depth, right? There's not a ton of experience. I love Carrington Valentine. Keyshawn Nixon has played better at corner. I know in previous years it hasn't been the best. But now I feel like there's just a lack of depth. There's a lack of flexibility and versatility, and that makes me more nervous because if any of those guys get injured, right? So that's kind of where my viewpoint is right this second. An absolute, I'm assuming I have all the expectations he'll be signing with the Vikings within an hour, just because that's the way the world works.
Vikings or Lions, it would be very funny.
It'd be something.
Or my real hope is he goes to the Steelers.
I already talked about that.
And he's the reason Aaron Rodgers defeats every team in the league.
That's why he just has an all-pro season.
It's pick 6 over Jordan Love to close out the game. It would be poetic.
Yeah. So I think it's just ultimately for the Packers, it just leaves a position group with
it's a big question mark at this point in the season. It doesn't mean that the Packers can't replace his production or figure it out, but it is a question mark.
It is a question mark. I'm because there's two positions that were of concern. And if Jaire came back, as long as he was healthy, which is a big if, I wouldn't have been as concerned about one. But now it's pass rush and secondary, and considering the link between both of those, it's just
this is just setting up to fuck the Packers.
How so?
Based on where Jaire could possibly go. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Lions, they got a ton of cap space. They could use some depth in their secondary, or on their defense. They were the most injured defense in the league last year. Why not throw in an injured player? That's a good fit. Could go to the Lions. 49ers also, I think the 49ers are the current betting favorites to sign him. They've been a thorn in the Packers' side, of course, in the postseason.
Sure.
Him going to San Francisco would be funny. Him going to the Raiders would also be a under-the-radar spite move because you guys signed Nate Hobbs coming over from the Raiders. He's like, oh, you'll pay Nate Hobbs? Let me go to the Raiders and play great there.
They already did that, though.
Steelers.
They got Eric Stokes.
Well, now they could have both of them. Philly's always just lurking, right? Like anytime a player's released, it's just like a slew of Eagles fans are like, we will sign him. And everybody thinks, oh yeah, they might, and it will probably work out. But yeah, who has no money? The Bills have no money right now. The Giants have no money and really nothing to show for it. So that's pretty cool. Wow.
Ashley, what a panic.
Wow.
I have to check out because I have jury duty. I understand it's an important civic obligation, but sorry, I really don't want to have any legal matter decided by a judge or a jury. How many days till the start of the season? I think it's 87 days we down to now.
Oh, God.
Right? Because it's September 4th. So, Ashley, you have justice in your hands. See that
Vote
it is done.
Guilty, no matter what the evidence says, Ashley. If they're in court, they guilty. We know it. And ask for maximum sentencing by the judge. That's how.
Get off my lawn.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
That's how it works.
It's been a hot minute since we were able to pull that one up. I just want to. I appreciate you, Ashley. Yes, don't worry.
I would like to ask for the death penalty. This was a traffic violation, Ashley.
It's like, I really believe in upholding the laws of the road. Sorry.
Nobody's going to take driving safe seriously if we let this man get away with it.
Yep. That's it. God. But ultimately, yeah, I'm going to put out a video later today about Jaire kind of like getting together this entire saga and what it means for the Packers. But ultimately, the Packers do have some flexibility, especially within their cap space. So that's nice. I just don't know how many options they have this current offseason to do anything with it. Of course, Trey Hendricks is out there. But the problem is that is also going to cost draft capital. But who knows, man? Like if the Packers turn around and say, hey, we can significantly upgrade our pass rush for, 3 seasons, sign him to a big deal and see if you can go win it with that. I wouldn't hate it. Hate it.
The Packers making a splash move, though, just doesn't feel like it's going to happen.
Awesome.
I would not bet on it.
Yeah, I know, AJ. Like, I don't know if we were to guess what we could have gotten for Jaire. Obviously, the answer is not much because the Packers attempted to trade Jaire Alexander, and there were no teams that bid on him, right? And I think it's a few things. One, the Packers had very little leverage here, not to bring back the Aaron Rodgers trade days at the Jets, but they didn't. And it was on top of the contract and on top of the injuries. And ultimately now a team is going to be able to sign him to, a low deal as a prove it year of like, hey, go out and ball out. So, yeah. And I think that the amount of money he would have made with the Packers and what the Packers were offering him on that restructured deal, which was going to be less money, he could get more in free agency. I think a team will be willing to pay extra money to be like, hey, if you're really good, like we need you for our secondary. And the Packers just weren't willing to do that based off the past 2 seasons.
Yeah. Teams that are competitive teams right now that are in a good cap situation for 2025 are probably willing to overpay just a little bit on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
To add Jaire. Now, like the thing that kind of gets overlooked with that though is
not Jalen Ramsey, please.
Cap rolls over as well, right? So like sure. if you don't really need Jaire Alexander and you have the cap space and you could do it, like what we get very short-sighted on cap situations, and teams are going to be looking at, okay, we have X amount of cap space in 2025. Whatever we don't spend, it rolls over into 2026, and then it makes that free agency period, more manageable from their situation. But like, if you're just looking, we just had the page up of which teams are in good cap situations. That's not exactly how the teams look at it, is my point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think it's...
Except for the Patriots. Patriots could definitely pay them.
Yes, they could. I feel like I'm curious to see if the Packers do anything with it this year. It's like you said, asking about trading for a corner. There's not really many options that are out there. I do not want Jalen Ramsey personally. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's just, we're going to see if the Packers are going to, thankfully they don't have to play until September. We'll see if they make a move anywhere else, but Trey Hendricks would make me so happy. And Austin, if I am able to do it, I still have to move. So I'm moving within like the next month or so. So we're hoping if I get time to it, I will do it. I promise.
Yeah. See, like the Lions are not in a good cap situation once 2026 kicks in. Even though they've got a bunch of money now, it's going to be eaten next year in contracts. Team that does have money next year, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Steelers. Dang. So he could definitely be a Raider.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders makes sense. Rams makes sense for next year.
Fair enough.
But see, then those teams are looking at, is anybody going to give him a 2-year deal? I don't think he takes anything other than a 1-year deal right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Raphael, that's just that it's a stopgap. So yeah, maybe they go out and they get a veteran, and sign him to a 1-year deal. But it's just that the only issue I really have is obviously the Packers were the ones who knew, but I wish they did things that kind of braced for this because they didn't. Bringing in Nate Hobbs, like that's a very low risk, but maybe decently high reward. Like he could be good. And if he winds up being good, if he's able to stay healthy, which is a big if, right? We said the same thing about Eric Stokes. He could help. It's just, again, there's question marks, and that gives me a little bit of concern. I wouldn't be surprised if they go and grab somebody for a year. It's just not a long-term solution there. Again, the only reason I'm talking about Hendrickson, and I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, like that would be a huge swing, is because it would just make the secondary look better. And you're going to have him for a few years, even though he's older. And the reason why not Jalen Ramsey is the same thing. I think just the amount of money that you're going to have to pay him, and he is older, is just not.
See, now, if the Packers would have traded Jaire, okay, say they traded him at the draft, they eat the salary, whatever it is, they got to make it work. Say it's, I don't know, they get like a third or a fourth round pick for him. That becomes important if they did want to take a swing on a guy like Trey Hendrickson, because then you're getting an extra draft pick to make that more feasible. Maybe not in a trade package specifically for Trey Hendrickson, but maybe you feel better about relinquishing what you have to give up to get Trey because you got an extra fourth rounder next year or whatever, and you can do whatever. But the Packers were unable to do that. So by not trading him, even though it frees up this money, maybe that's the thing that doesn't allow them to actually go after a guy like Trey.
Yeah. I mean, again, and also they're going to have to make a deal with another team to do so. I mean, we also just haven't heard a lot about Trey Hendrickson. Like, we're just waiting. So who the hell knows what
Browns let me tell you, the Browns are going to fuck that. Or sorry, the Bengals are going to fuck that situation. The Browns are going to fuck it up somehow too.
They're going to somehow do it.
Are going to screw it up.
I hear you, Ruben. And I want to be very clear, right? Because this is, I love Jaire Alexander. I loved the time that he was in Green Bay. I loved him as a player. I think he was really dope for the community. I think he embraced the Packers really well. And it's a bummer, right? Just to see him go, because I like him as a person. And I think, he was just a good player. The reality of the situation is that he hasn't played a full season since 2022. And so I get it, but this is just the fact that they didn't get anything, the fact that they weren't able to at least draft a somewhat replacement or, at least take a swing on a suitable replacement. That makes me a little nervous. And then ultimately we're kind of just here waiting for him to sign with the Vikings because, that's just how life goes and just punches you in the gonads. So, oh, I know. I'm waiting for it. But here's the thing. After Aaron Jones, Brett Favre was and then that turned out to be okay. Yeah, that's fine. You can take him. But after Aaron Jones, this one's just gonna be more hurt. Just add it to the pile.
Aaron Jones and Jaire Alexander.
Don't worry about that injury.
But then you guys have two former Raiders basically replacing them. Yeah. And Hobbs and Josh Jacobs. Mm-hmm. What about Jalen Ramsey? Would you trade for Jalen Ramsey?
I just said I don't want Jalen Ramsey.
You don't?
No, I do not. No. I just because the amount of money. What's his current contract?
Oh, God forbid you pay the guy that can actually be on the field.
I don't want him. Personally, it's just personally. Yeah, because he is. So there's an out next year, but he got a significant amount of money, and he's 31. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm good. Personally, I'm good. The Packers could. Maybe they make that trade because I think they could probably get him for pretty low trade capital, draft capital, because he has a major contract. I think that's one of the reasons why the Dolphins haven't been able to move on from him. But yeah, I'm all right. It's not a long-term option. And I feel like while yes, he is going to be on the field, I think you're just going to get diminishing returns each year. That's the way that I look at it. I could 100% be wrong. That's just my opinion about that. Is Rasul a free agent? Yes. Again, stopgap. Maybe they do. They bring in a veteran for a year, potentially. It's just the Packers have to figure out long-term solutions of what's going on with their corner room. I know. No more Jaire Alexander. I know. It's sad. But we'll see. Let's talk about Nick Chubb.
Nicholas Chubb. Going to the Texans, most likely, 99%. He's got to pass a physical, pending physical, but a one-year deal going to the Houston Texans. So he'll join Joe Mixon, Dameon Pierce. That's an interesting backfield. With Joe Mixon on the roster, I didn't really have the Texans as a team that I thought, Nick Chubb might play for, but
I don't think the expectations for Chubb are going to be insanely high, and the upside is high. Like, right, if he can even just be a rotational back to like, okay, because that was one of the things that I was dead wrong about. I mean, that was one of my biggest whiffs in a while. I thought Joe Mixon to the Texans wasn't going to do anything. Just like watching Mixon, like with those last years, the Bengals, I was like, okay, like, yeah, I was dead ass wrong. Like, he had a great season with them. So if Mixon is able to still be like the workhorse and the featured back, you bring Chubb in there as a rotational guy or as a third down guy. Yeah, I think you're good. Zach with an H, but yes.
You don't often see like a team basically have two veteran running backs like that when neither of them were, drafted by the team.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Chubb is healthier. He'll be, further removed from his surgery. He did make it back last year, which was an achievement in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get to play a lot. And when he did play, he wasn't, the Nick Chubb that we all became enamored by, which is to be expected when you're recovering from the severe injury he had. So there's a little bit of upside for Chubb going there, but it's injury. He's been in the league for a while, and now you put him in the same backfield with Joe Mixon. I figured like a team that would be interested in Chubb would be a team that had, younger running backs and kind of lacked maybe that safer sort of veteran that you can add to the room. So that's why I kind of find it like interesting that he went to the Texans. But I hope it works out. And I hope like we're talking, week 8 or 9 and we're saying, dang, the Texans picking up Nick Chubb was a smart move for Chubb and for the team. He's helping him. He's contributing because I don't think there's anybody rooting against Chubb at this point.
No. And maybe they're just doing this to just give the middle finger to the Browns again, right? They're just like, hey, not only did you have to take Deshaun Watson and that did really well for your organization, but we're also just going to give Nick Chubb his golden years and just allow him to make some more money. So,
we're adding a Chubb and people are applauding us for it.
It's true.
You sick perverts. You disgusting perverted Browns.
Zan, no, it would not mean they had the best secondary in the league. I think you have the Eagles who will fight you for that. I think the Broncos, there's a lot of potential that they could be rocking with one of the best secondaries in the league. But yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of potential. But Ramsey and Alexander, there's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs there. So
I think like if the Rams were able to walk away with both Ramsey and Alexander and they're not overpaying for either, I think that's a great move for Los Angeles. Does it make them the best?
No. Not a lot of better experience, but
I mean, it makes them better. Like they've got Witherspoon, Darius Williams. They could use it. What, Quentin Lake? They got both Camerons at safeties. Kinchins was an underrated rookie last year for the Rams, but I think the Rams would be in play for one of them. And Ramsey's linked to the Rams, obviously, because he played there. But you got to give up something to get Jalen Ramsey. You don't really have to give up anything to get Jaire. If you're a Rams fan and you can only pick one, are you going with Jaire or do you want Ramsey? I think that's an interesting question.
Ramsey, I feel like at least there's familiarity, but yeah. I mean, again, with Jaire, it's an injury risk, but it's, hey, the upside's really good because if he's on the field, you're rocking. He just hasn't been on the field.
Yeah. So you take the guy who usually is on the field and plays still very good football.
He's solid.
What do you want, Rams fans? Tell me, goddammit, would you take Jalen Ramsey or Jaire?
I don't think I did see what I did not see what CJ Gardner-Johnson said about the Eagles. No. I mean, the Eagles didn't need him. That's just the truth. Want a maple ice cream. All right. James Cook, do you think he gets traded?
Oh yeah, this is actually a big story right now. Well,
this is
big,
interesting.
It appears that there's a good chance he is not coming back to the Bills, or the Bills are not going to budge on paying him. Oh, where the fuck was that?
It was like the disconnected comment, right? You saying that like there was a disconnection between James Cook and the Bills right now.
Yeah.
So apparently all the reports are saying that he is not planning to be in Buffalo anytime soon. And from James Cook's perspective, like you understand, right? Because you're just like, hey, like I had a pretty damn good season. Like I need to get paid now. The problem is if you're the Bills, you want that to be consistent and, you know, not shell out an absolute crap ton of money for just a season of really good performance. So I get it. But this is an interesting situation because them having a balanced offense last year was one of the major reasons why they were so successful. I mean, we've been waiting. If you've been watching the Bills and you want them to succeed, you've been waiting for them to have a good run game so Josh Allen didn't have to do everything. And Josh Allen still won MVP and still had an amazing year, but that was also supported with a really good ground game. So
yeah, it's with James Cook. He had an insane amount of touchdowns last year. Was it 15 or 16 touchdowns?
16, yeah.
But like you're asking the question, how many of those touchdowns were because of James Cook? How many of those can you replace with Ray Davis or just Josh Allen keeping the ball? How close were they to the goal line? I loved what James Cook did last year, and he definitely increased his value, but he wants what, like 15 or 16 million a year?
Which I get it. You want to go get your money, but like I just don't know if
it's a tough year to ask for it, and I think needs one more year of like really good production before the Bills rightfully would be willing to pay it. Because his touchdowns before that were it was like 2 and 2.
2, yeah.
Like you were questioning his production. So you're asking why was there the uptick in James Cook production? Was it just James Cook, or was the Bills how they're running their offense? You like Ray Davis?
Love me some Ray Davis.
Ty Johnson, it's explosive when he touches the ball. So it's they're probably going to be more committee like anyway.
He had less carries than he did in 2024 than he did in 2023. It was only like a difference of like 30, but it wasn't just like, oh, there was a significant uptick in getting him the ball, right? It's just situations where he was able to score, which is awesome. But I mean, hell, he even had less yardage because you were, supplementing with Ray Davis and Ty Johnson back there. Resign Rasul. I mean, I think that'd be a popular fan thing, but it's a completely different scheme now. So I don't know if they bring him back. I think that ship is kind of sailed, but that'd be my take on it. I think so. Dude, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the news of, he's going to the purple incarnation of Satan. But to the James Cook question, because do you think that the Bills take a big step back if he's not on the field?
Not really.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. I think their offense is not as good. It might take them another year to find someone with those kind of skills, or they'd really need like Ty Johnson or Ray Davis to like step up significantly. Listen, I Ray Davis make him the feature back, I'll be the happiest person ever. But yeah, that's a complicated situation because again, like that's one of the reasons why they were so successful last year.
Yeah, I think Ray Davis can fill in fine.
Charles, happy freaking fracking birthday. Let's go. Yeah, I hope just for your sake. Maybe he just goes tomorrow to make your birthday better.
Would have been a good year to draft a running back, probably, But and I like James Cook.
I like him too.
I really do not know if he is a $16 million a year running back.
I think that's a very valid question, even for the Bills to have, right?
Yeah.
Like if we're just comparing the situation to I get it. I get why the Bills wouldn't want to pay him, based off of the production that he's had. And last year had this insane season. But like, I know we mentioned this before. I want to say it was a couple weeks ago when we were talking about James Cook. You look at Jamal Williams, right? A guy who I loved when he played for the Packers, goes to the Lions, has a cajillion touchdowns, beats Barry Sanders' record. A lot of them are on the goal line, right? And then they don't re-sign him. They bring in Montgomery. And I was like, all right, that's a pretty damn good move. But there were some folks of like, how are we not re-signing him? And then he goes to the Saints and has nowhere near the production that he has.
Yeah.
And while there has been a resurgence of like, oh, we like running backs again in the NFL, we're actually going to pay them. I do think it's a little bit of it's a tough place for the Bills to be in based off his previous production besides last season.
Yeah. And James Cook turned like 16 touchdowns it's a crazy number of touchdowns. That is a hard number to replicate or replace in any offense, whoever your quarterback is. And some of those plays, they were James Cook turning very little into something. Mm-hmm. But like when it's this and this the year before, when you've had an offensive coordinator change within all of that, I think like, maybe Ray Davis is if James Cook doesn't play, and I think he will ultimately play, I don't think it benefits any running back to miss an entire year to actually hold out like that. He might not be happy that he plays, but I think he'll play. Maybe the Bills make a deal. I don't know. But it might not be like Ray Davis coming in and getting like 13 touchdowns, right? It's going to be spread out. But I think like I want James Cook to be a 16 touchdown a year type running back because like I want running backs to get paid.
Yeah.
I love that Saquon and Derrick Henry, they both reluctantly took less money, but went to better situations and showed they still can fucking just run the piss out of the football.
Sure.
2 insane seasons. And they both got big contract extensions this offseason. Cook's still young. And this is where contracts become really tricky with the NFL. Because we're just talking about Jaire, who got paid, and then he hasn't been healthy, and you're in a weird contract situation.
Sure.
James Cook comes into the league. He's probably been, last year he's underpaid because he's on a rookie deal. First couple years, it's fine. But like you're in this window now, it's like he's asking to get paid what he's worth, but he's still under contract. And the Bills are going to do everything to pay him the least amount of money to continue to produce for him.
Absolutely.
And then you have Jaire, who's been overpaid for how much he's been on the field and rightfully does not deserve to take a pay cut because that's the contract he was given. But the back end of his contract is not guaranteed. So that's why a team has flexibility there. And it's always a guessing game with contracts and production and what
it's also his rookie deal.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing too. Like they want this to play out because they don't have to pay him a ton of money.
Exactly.
Right. So for the Bills, they would love to be like, all right, yeah, you play the last year of your contract where we basically don't have to pay you a significant amount of money. And here's the problem from James Cook's perspective. If he balls out this year, right, there's no guarantee that the Bills are going to pay him, but we'll see what the running back market looks like. But it also like he's got to ball out. And he just is like, hey, look what I did last year. Look at those big numbers. This is really impressive. This is why I need to get paid right now, because God forbid he gets hurt or doesn't have a super productive season. That is going to dramatically impact the amount of money that he could get. So like you understand both sides of it.
Sure.
I think just for the Bills, it's, do you have the guys on the roster that could match that level of production right now?
Yeah, they might, but also it's like for the Bills specifically, like kind of doesn't matter. It's like it feels like whatever the Bills do, the results have been the same. Get into the playoffs, win a game, and then have your hearts ripped out of your chests. Win a game or win 2 games.
Yeah.
Where's his
I don't know, P-Dog, but I know that Coco won the French Open. So no, we're good.
Where's his game logs?
Pretty good. Who's going to win?
Yeah. He destroyed the Broncos in the playoffs. That's why like my perception skewed a little bit. I'm like, damn, he was so good in that game.
No bias, none.
But if he did 120 against the Chiefs and he was the reason they won that game, Pay him now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the Bills should give him money. I just don't know. I don't think they're going to come to an agreement on like 15, 16 mil.
No.
I understand why James Cook is asking for that. Go and get your bag.
If he had like 1,500 yards with 16 touchdowns, they might do it.
Because you were talking about the yardage that you were just like, hey, it's only 1,000. But at the same time, you have Josh Allen on that offense. You do have 2 other running backs that are also taking, some opportunities from him as well. And still to have that level of production is impressive. But yeah, I get you.
No, it's fine.
Michael, see, that's what happens. Turn 30, it's just... I actually like my 30s. It's not bad. That's fine. My back hurts a little bit more though.
It happens.
I hope you had a good birthday though. All right, so for Nick Chubb, you're not saying it moves the needle for you a ton for the Texans?
For the Texans?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I like it. I'm hoping for the best. I would have added Nick Chubb to the Broncos. Like I would have been cool with it. It's not about moving the needle. It's that they have Joe Mixon there. It's just it's interesting to have 2 older running backs on your roster. I don't know if it's good or bad.
Okay. Yeah, Asante Samuel Jr., I think that there'd be a ton of teams that would be interested in him, but you don't know about this injury. Like the injury is because I haven't heard anything.
It was a neck injury, right? He had neck surgery in April.
3 days ago, there was a story about the Broncos eyeing him, but
interesting. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, they have like the time to let him.
He had the shoulder injury, right? And then he had
neck surgery in April.
Neck surgery. That's what. Yeah. So I think that they're just waiting to see like what the news is. Again, it'd be super cool, but like neck injury, like that's a significant one. So I don't think a team is going to touch him unless they know that is going to be all cleared up. So potential.
He visited with the Saints. Asante Samuel visited with the Saints. His last full season was 2023. He's good in coverage when he's healthy. We'll see.
Like he's like I like him as a corner. It's just
go get him. Replace Jaire with another guy coming off an injury.
Yeah, because that's what the Packers love to do. That's it. Oh, dropping a vid today on a topic I didn't know till today that Perna already did. Perna's going to sue you, Alex. He's going to come to your house and he is going to give you a summons and a stern talking to.
Yes.
So
go for it, Alex. Look, ideas are not sacred. When you're talking about sports, there's only so many relevant things kind of going on, and it's going to happen. Okay. So make the video. Make the video.
At your own peril.
Yeah. Dude, I just saw there's a channel, some dude started a channel called Balls Deep. I was like, that motherfucker.
Hey, look, now they got a shout out.
Yeah.
Like
that's my name for a shit thing.
2 things. One way more important than the other. Aaron Rodgers. So his contract has been revealed. So we knew that it was going to be a 1-year deal. He went on McAfee saying that he would do it for $10 million. And then it turns out that he is doing it for $10 million. There's incentives that can get him up to $19 million.
Yeah.
So this seems like a great situation for Rodgers. He gets the money that he was talking about. It's a team-friendly deal. If you want to talk about Rodgers and how much that's going to move the needle with the Steelers, we talked about that ad nauseum on Friday. But yeah, I don't think that this, again, on paper, it's not a bad deal for the Steelers. It's just long-term, is this going to do anything for them besides maybe give them a nice season or a 9-8 season?
I think it was like $13.5 million is his base salary. But yeah, he wasn't lying. He's playing for cheap. He knows where he's at in his career. And so it's a good deal for the Steelers. 2026
MVP candidates. Jaire Alexander.
Daniel Jones will make more guaranteed money than Aaron Rodgers this year.
There you go.
That's the world we live in.
There you go. 26. I mean, I still think maybe Burrow. Burrow will get some love. Lamar, Josh always going to be up there. I want to see if
Joe Burrow's going to have to be an MVP candidate.
He's going to have to be.
Like, he has no choice. Joe Burrow has to throw for 5,000 yards, 40-plus touchdowns. He needs to have his interceptions below 10 for the Bengals to have a chance.
Mm.
They gave him, they brought back T, and now we're waiting on Trey.
Mm-hmm.
All about Trey.
Also, you put it in the agenda, and I saw that you left your basement yesterday.
I did leave my basement. What
was that?
I poop on your Browns, Rigbone, because of Deshaun Watson. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. Only reason. Other than that, I'm rooting for you guys. And until you are free of Deshaun Watson, I cannot, in my heart, love you.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the DNVR bar last night.
Is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah, not to drink. Although I did have a couple drinks. Just two. I didn't go there to drink, though.
Did you parallel park right after that?
I got a good spot. Open. It was
didn't even have to parallel park.
Nothing in front of me, and I actually backed through basically a tree. Like, there was tree branches into the street, and they just went right next. They were grazing my truck. And then Jess had heels on, and I had to move the tree and help her get out of the truck. Because then it was also a little muddy over there.
This is Michael Scott telling the story about how he quit. And he's like, I walked into the building. I was in the wrong building. So what did you do? All I know is you went to a bar, you drank 2 drinks.
You're the one who brought up parking, not me.
Yes, it was I thought it was a one-off joke. You were the one who said that you should do shots and then go parallel park. You said that on Friday.
Yeah,
on Friday you said that.
Parallel parking.
It's called
not driving. Parking.
Continue.
No, but they were having they had a private screening for the finale of Gabe Landeskog's documentary series that's been airing on HBO. Oh. So the finale airs tonight, and they screened it last night. So we got to watch the last episode. Gabe Landeskog.
What happened? Spoil it.
Was there? What's that?
Spoil it.
Well, I mean, he returns to the Avalanche.
What?
Yes. And then they don't win for him, which is a shame. Because he was recovering from a torn patella, which was sliced in half by Cale Makar's ice skate.
Yes, not great.
And he told the story because they did a Q&A after, and he has 3 kids. Generic. They just had a baby, but he's got a 3 or 4 year old boy, and they like to play hockey. The boy likes to play hockey downstairs or whatever. And that's not actual hockey. It's just kind of imagining you're a player, and Carm does this all the time, but his boy likes to be Cale Makar and likes to pretend that he slices his dad's knee open. I was like, oh, that's very relatable, because the funniest thing in the world to Carmi is when I get hurt. So,
sure. And
it's a very adorable story. He's like, so I have had to relive that injury dozens and dozens of times with.
And the child closest to you.
He's like, you be Gabe Landeskog, I'll be Cale Makar. And but that's tough. He missed over 2 years of playing because of the surgery. The recovery he had to do. So we got to go and hang out, and I actually didn't get to shake his hand. So
you didn't?
No.
You shake his knee?
It was a cool thing, but everybody wanted to talk to him, and he was always kind of surrounded by a bunch of people. And then when we kind of got in there to get ready, he got pulled aside, and I was like, I gotta go home. It's gonna get too late for Daddy's bedtime.
7:30.
Yeah, but it was very cool. It was very cool to go, and
it was nice to see you out, and you had a nice suit on. You're just professionalism. It's good.
Yeah, it's a good story about perseverance, obviously, and he talked about athletes getting perceived as being machines, and they're not. They're just. It doesn't matter how many times you got to say it. They're just regular people. And I just did a video about players playing through crazy injuries. So his recovery to get back, and he's going to be playing this year. And in Colorado, he's like, over the last like decade, one of the most important players in this city in sports. Plus, he was on an episode of HGTV back in the day, House Hunters, when he was finding his house here in Colorado. So if anybody has watched that episode way back in the day, but it's cool.
There you go. Trey, it's a good question. I personally would be very surprised if a deal with Scary Terry doesn't get done. I would be shocked. So how screwed would they be? It wouldn't help. It would not be great. I think he's just the reason why I hold him in such high regards too is because there's a total bias. Like it's why I love Mike Evans so much, because he's consistent and he's QB proof, right? And Perna was talking about this last week. With a young quarterback in Jaden Daniels, to have a true wide receiver one is so valuable. I don't see them letting him get away. It doesn't seem to make any sense.
They're trying. It feels like they're trying to make this situation a little more sexy than it is.
Yeah,
it's like, trade destinations for Terry McLaurin. Now,
paid a lot for the secondary. So
I guess the caveat there is if there's a team willing to give up a lot for Terry,
sure,
then I think the Commanders might think about it, because you are looking at Jaden. You're like, if we can get a first rounder or two, a la the Tyreek Hill trade when the Chiefs did it, and you're like, the Chiefs aren't going to trade Tyreek Hill, and then they got a fuck ton of value for him. Like maybe that's the situation the Commanders are, but I feel like you bring Terry back.
Yeah, I don't see a situation where
Garrett coming in from the top rope.
How would I feel? I would expect it at this point, because take everything else. So why not? Why not? I would not be surprised at all. The Vikings and the NFC North love to take the Packers former players, so it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. But I mean, the Vikings in truth, like they could use him. Like I would not be surprised if he winds up going there. So
yeah, I've seen Terry McLaurin mocked up in Steelers uniforms, Cowboys uniforms.
Oh,
my
God!
Commanders are going to send him to Dallas.
Never going to the Cowboys. Get out of here.
I love the internet. It's
happy freaking fracking almost birthday. I think with AR hurt again, wait until he's not, because he's just missing mini camp, right? So with the shoulder injury, it's just going to come down to training camp. It's going to come down to who can compete to be. I think they're going to give Daniel Jones a legit shot, and whoever is the best looking quarterback, that's who they're going to rock with. It might be a week to week scenario.
Anthony Richardson at age 23 or 24, whatever. Yeah. He's playing with the body of a 41-year-old right now, Theo. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Dude, like if you think like if the Commanders traded Terry McLaurin, it would look silly to trade away McLaurin after they acquired Deebo Samuel this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an odd move, and I don't see him doing it.
Sure. Yeah. Whiskey, again, I'm sad just because I like Jaire Alexander, and I think if he played this year, and again, this is all the biggest if possible, then the secondary is going to be better. But like, it's the Packers, man. Like the Packers do not want to, they would rather just let him go. And if he balls out with another team this year, it's going to suck. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, they don't want to pay him the amount of money that he's asking, because he just hasn't been on the field the past few seasons. I get it from a business standpoint. I just don't like it. And again, now there's just significant question marks with the secondary. And again, if you had a better pass rush, I would feel better about it. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. Because, like, let's put it this way. The Packers were still able to make the playoffs, and Jaire Alexander played in 4 games. They were able to make the playoffs the year before, and he only played in 4 games. So the secondary can do it. The guys that they have, they can play. But we just got
Packers secondary going to get cooked all year long.
Brandon, shut up. Let's see if Bo Nix actually even has...
Bo Nix going to be statistically better than Jordan Love in every single metric.
I don't think... You want to take it? Let's make that bet. Let's make that bet right now. You confident? How confident are you?
Well, every metric's ridiculous.
No,
could be like
no. You can't back it up
be
already.
one like weird one that some caveat I'm not thinking about.
No, we could do yards, we could do touchdowns, we could do interceptions.
Yeah, he'll have
no.
He'll have more yards, more touchdowns, fewer sacks. Guarantee that.
Say it again.
More yards, more touchdowns, fewer sacks.
What about the interceptions?
I'm not sure about interceptions.
Oh,
yet.
But you said in every metric. I think if the Jordan Love is better, then you shave your head.
I'm not shaving my head.
Why? I thought you were confident in your team.
I'm not confident in my head.
What?
I can't go bald. I can't be a bald man.
You could do it.
No, I don't have the head shape.
You do it.
No.
That's true, bro. It's true. A year of the Oregon chapter of the JJ McCarthy fan club. I'm just saying you could do it. You have all that confidence. Yeah. Mohawk would be great. You could crush a Mohawk.
I would do Mohawk.
You do Mohawk?
Bald, but
okay.
It'd have to be Mohawk. A thick Mohawk.
Oh no, it'd have to be. Yeah, it'd have to be a thick one.
Thick.
Yeah, well, we'll see what our pass rush looks like. That's the biggest question mark that I have, even more than our secondary. Because as we said, like the Packers have been able to get to the playoffs without Jaire Alexander, but who the hell knows what that pass rush is going to look like? So we'll see. Very sorry to hear that, Mr. Fox. I hope there's nothing but love and peace for you, my friend. Very sorry for that. And hey, Seahawks fan, well, we don't have to play each other this year, right? So we're not the enemy. Best of luck with Sam Darnold. Best of luck. I hope you're
Sammy Darnold, slinging Sammy Darnold.
So, Perna, what do you got coming out today, my friend?
A video, probably about all the bullshit we just talked about. So come rewatch. We have a Derek Carr video in the can, but I feel like I can push that and do something about the news happening.
Okay. That's fair.
No, I believe in Bo Nix, and I should believe in him.
Believe in Bo Nix.
Bo Nix and Jordan Love they're at very similar points in their career. It's actually it's going to be close. It's an interesting.
I'm saying, Robert obviously doesn't believe in Bo Nix whatsoever. I just thought he had some optimism for his team, but it's fine.
I'm done making bets that I'm not going to pay. So
yeah, you also just chicken out the entire time. So
actually, I should make more bets if I don't have to pay them.
You're just like, I have no consequences.
Smart.
Before this, for GPS, I got a Packers fan reaction to Jaire Alexander being released. That's already out. Go check that out. And then today I'm going to have a full Jaire Alexander video. Just kind of explaining this whole saga, where the Packers go from now. Why can't they trade him? Because nobody was willing to pay for that contract based off that. And now you can get him for free. So it worked out. The other teams read it well. They did it. So
we don't believe you, Green Bay.
Yeah, no, I know he didn't try to replace him. Oh, I understand. So, Whiskey, like, here's the disconnect as well. Like, the Packers did try to trade him. You can't force another team to take him. It was like, here, no, you have to. It's just not how it works. I think that the leverage wasn't there because worst case scenario, the Packers released him. Look, that's what happened. And if you're trying to, if you're in this buyer's market to go get Jaire Alexander, you don't want to have to give up the draft capital. And if you do, you don't want it to be super duper high. So now a team is going to be able to sign him to a low risk deal for a year. So I get it. I'm not happy that they didn't get anything for him, especially after this entire ordeal that we went through this offseason. But, that's just kind of where we're at this point. So, generic. Sorry, hold on. Where was it? Apologies. Hold on. Oh, I said I don't know if it's ever happened before. Yeah, no, I don't. Maybe you get one. Maybe. I don't know if you're actually going to rock that, but I don't know if that's happened 3. Good question. But folks, I appreciate the hell out of you. We'll talk to you soon. Maybe we'll see you on Wednesday. Who the hell knows what's going on with the NFL? We'll wake up to more news. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS, and you have been navigated.
You've reached your destination.
He's probably, I think he's going to go to a purple team. It's the Vikings or the Ravens.